is going on, Nitrosites? It is your boy, the Nitro General here, and welcome to my draft analysis for Season 1 of the NPBA, the draft league that I personally created myself. If you guys are excited for this and you want to show some support, I would really appreciate it if you guys would hit that like button down below. Subscribe if you guys are new. We are on our way to 300 subscribers by the end of the year, so that would be very greatly appreciated if you guys would do that. Share this video with your friends, with your Mima. What if I always use weird names for like your grandparents when I say that? Share it with your first grade teacher. I don't even know. I really hope none of you guys are in first grade watching this. I just mean like the teacher you had in first grade. Let's just move on. Basically, guys, we've been waiting for this for a long time. I was supposed to have the draft analysis out actually days ago. However, the draft took a little bit longer than I anticipated, so I am sorry about that, guys. But yeah, it took a little bit of time. We had a few people who were in different time zones, so they could only get on at different times of the day to draft. So it was a little bit harder to do it, but we have finally finished, guys, and this is my draft analysis. So yes, this is taking place of a Pokemon Showdown video for tonight. I am sorry about that, which means that you guys are only going to get like one actual Pokemon Showdown video this week, and the rest of these, and then you'll get one battle, our week 1 battle, and then you'll get obviously this one. I did decide that we are replacing one Pokemon Showdown video a week with our draft battle for that week, meaning that you guys will get 2 regular Pokemon Showdown videos and one of our week battles, and that is going to be until the draft is done, which it is 10 weeks, meaning 10 battles is the regular season. So you guys will get, for the next 10 weeks, you guys will get 2 Pokemon Showdown videos and you know, one of these and one of the the battle videos, which basically all I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be going over the team that I'm going to be fighting. I'm going to be doing my team builder for the battle, and then we are going to have the battle. So hopefully I can get that up on the same day every week, but I'm not totally sure if I'm going to be able to do that or not. It's all going to be when I can get the other person to battle, stuff like that. So hopefully things won't get too messed up. But yeah, guys, I'm very much excited about this. I'm going to be going over the tiers of the Pokemon, as in how I drafted it, right? The order of how I drafted it. We're not going to go right down the list. We're going to go over the order of how I drafted it. I'm going to be talking about why I picked a certain Pokemon and stuff like that. Of course, we do have free agent transactions we are able to use. So, which means that if some of these Pokemon don't, you know, work out as well as I'm hoping as well as I was hoping them to, we can always switch them out if we need to. But I really feel like this is a good team. I did a lot of thinking, I did a lot of calculating, I did a lot of replacing, a lot of work on this team. So I really like this one as it is. So yeah, basically, in a draft here, if you guys don't know what that, in a draft league, if you guys don't know what how the draft works, basically in a lot of these leagues they usually use the snake draft, which means that you go from the first person to the last person, and then the last person to the first person to the last person. In this league, I decided just to go with first person to last, and then back to first, and then first person to last, back to first, basically just like that. I don't know why I decided to do it that way. I just, I thought that would be easier, just because in hindsight it probably would have been easier to do the snake draft, because then the people who picked last, who ended up, weirdly enough, the people who were in the different time zone got the last in the draft. So we were always waiting on like the last 3 people, and if it was the snake draft, they would have been able to pick twice, and it probably would have went a little bit faster. But I didn't think about that. So yeah, I actually had first pick, which really didn't give me too much of an advantage, except for guaranteed me the first pick that I wanted. And the way that I tiered this to make things a little bit more evenly is that all legendary mythical Pokemon were in tier 1, right? All Pokemon that I thought were really good Pokemon but weren't like legendary mythicals, like starters, pseudo legendaries, all that stuff went into tier 2s, and then all the other Pokemon were tiered accordingly in tier 3, 4, and 5. 5 being a lot of just first and second stage evolutions, with an exception of maybe like Delibird and Shed Ninja and stuff like that. Pokemon that aren't really that great at all, that I don't think deserve to be in the tier 5 category. So basically, we were required to pick a tier 1, a tier 2, 2 tier 3s, 2 tier 4s, and a tier 5. And then we had 4 picks, free picks. We had 500 points. Each tier cost a different amount of points. Tier 1 was 200, tier 2 was 150, tier 3 was 100, tier 4 was 50, and then tier 5 was 25 points. Basically, you had to spend those points to pick 4 more Pokemon. Obviously, if you decided that you wanted another legendary or mythical in a tier 1, you were required to pick more lower tier Pokemon towards the end, right? That's just kind of having to balance it a little bit. In hindsight, I think the way I did this might not have been, might have sounded better in my head, but I think it worked out. I'm not sure. This was just a way of making it so people just could get enough decent Pokemon without having like a super overpowered team. But yeah, so let's just get into the draft, guys. So tier 1, most people picked a tier 1 first, right? A couple people didn't, but most people decided to pick a tier 1 first. A lot of good Pokemon were up for draft. Obviously, there were a lot of Pokemon that were banned. I did anything that was in doubles OU. That was banned was also banned from being drafted. So a lot of like the box art legendaries and stuff like that. But then there were some extra legendaries and mythicals and ultra beasts that I decided to ban strictly because I think they were way too overpowered. Specifically, Regidrago was the #1 Pokemon that I banned because if you guys have seen any of the last Pokemon Showdown videos of mine, you know how overpowered that thing is. And I wanted to eliminate the fact that you could sweep, right? So I wanted to make sure that like it was more of a skill base instead of just one person gets a really overpowered Pokemon in space, right? Regieleki was also banned. I did ban Volcanion because Steam Eruption is just broken, and then I also banned Stakataka because that thing is just way too OP as well. And then any other Pokemon that were banned in Doubles OU was also banned. So obviously I was thinking of Pokemon like Urshifu, like Landorus, right? A lot of these Pokemon were ones that popped into my head. Urshifu, though, I really felt like Urshifu has a lot of weaknesses and a lot of ways to be combated. So I felt like if we did have Urshifu, yes, it would be really good. However, it would be easily been able to stop, right? It's weak to grass, it's weak to electric, flying, psychic. I think that's it. But still, that's still a lot of fairy. It's weak to fairy as well. So I really felt like it was just better to not go with an Urshifu, right? I wanted something that was fast and hit hard. I also didn't go with Landorus, but strictly because we had another ground type I wanted to draft and another flying type I wanted to draft as well. So in order to not double up on typings, I was thinking I wanted something that hits hard, that was decently fast, and I came to the conclusion that the Pokemon I wanted in my tier 1 was Zeraora. Now I am really excited, guys. Black Bull is coming to the league. If you guys I've seen, me use Zeraora. I love using Zeraora. It's such a good Pokemon. It gets access to Fake Out. It gets access to Knockoff. It gets access to, it's an absurdly powerful Plasma Fist move. It gets access to Close Combat, which is also really good. We could run Choice Band. We could run Choice Scarf too, which I think as well, because Urshifu Rapid Strike went directly after this, right? Directly after this pick. And I think Zeraora is like the #1 counter to Rapid Strike Urshifu, and running Choice Scarf will allow us to always outspeed it, right? Even if it's max speed Choice Scarf Urshifu, if we're max speed Choice Scarf Zeraora, we always outspeed it. And this will allow us to basically one-shot the Urshifu every time. So, unless it's like Focus Sash, which I have seen before, so hopefully it wouldn't be when we go up against the person who has it. But yeah, I thought Zeraora would be really good. Of course, we could run it special if we wanted to. It also gets like Volt Switch and stuff like that for pivoting. But I don't think we'll ever run this thing specially. I just think it's really fast and it hits really hard. Like I said, it does get access to Fake Out. I think it gets access to Quick Attack too, but I really don't think we'll be using Quick Attack that much. I really think like a Fake Out priority is really, really nice. And also being able to get access to Knockoff is also nice too, being able to knock off the item of whatever Pokemon it was. So yeah, Zeraora was my first pick. Like I said, I was debating on this for a while because I only got one tier 1. When I went for my free points, I actually did not go for another tier 1. I actually went for a tier 2, 2 tier 3, or yeah, a tier 2, 2 tier 3s, and a tier 4. So, because I just, you know, there was a lot of Pokemon that were really good. And a lot of, obviously, I'm sure you guys know all of the other Pokemon that went directly after that, right? Landorus went, Landorus Therian went. Actually, the other Landorus didn't. All the Tapus went, including Bulu, which I was very surprised Karen Black went. A lot of really good Pokemon like that did go. So, because of that, I wanted to draft another Tier 2 directly after that, because there were a couple Pokemon I was looking at, right? Specifically, some pseudo-legendaries. I was mainly looking at Salamence. I thought that was really good. Also gave us, like, access to Flamethrower and stuff like that. Gave us a ground immunity. I thought that was a great, great choice. But then I did see that directly after, until it came back to me, a lot of good fairy types went. And as I've said a million times, when creating competitive teams, I think one of the best typings to have is a steel typing, right? Being super effective against the best typing, in my opinion, in competitive, which is fairy typing. It's also, you know, resists everything, right? It resists an absurd amount of typings. Being only weak to ground and fire, you know, we're also immune to toxic and poison types in general. Not that we really have too many Pokemon on this team that are weak to poison. I think we only have 2 Pokemon on this team that are weak to poison, but still that'll give us access, so if they do have toxic, we can always just come into a steel type and have that. So I was looking at a really good steel type, and if you guys know where I'm going with this, I'm sure you do, because my tier 2 that I decided to pick after Zeraora was Metagross. Now, Metagross is an absurdly amazing Pokemon. Now, this does make it so we are weak to both Ghost and Dark as well, but that is okay because those types weren't really prevalent in the draft, you know, which was weird. But they were not really that prevalent, because obviously we do get access to stuff like Zen Headbutt and Psychic if we wanted to run it specially. I don't know how much often I'll actually run a Psychic type move on this thing. This is mainly for the steel typing, right? This is our answer to the Tapus. This is our answer to a lot of the other good fairy types that went after, because obviously there was a lot of fairy types that went after. But Metagross is just a super cool Pokemon. I've always loved Metagross. It's probably my second favorite pseudo-legendary. It was my favorite pseudo-legendary up until Dragapult was released, right? Dragapult is Ghost and Dragon, which are my 2 favorite typings of all time. So obviously that thing, and it was based off like a stealth bomber. There's no way that thing couldn't have taken my favorite pseudo-legendary spot. But up until Gen 8, Metagross has always been my favorite, right? I love the shiny. I remember the anime episode as a kid. I remember seeing the previews for the anime episode as a kid, and I saw the gray, and I thought it was super cool. But yeah, I really had to get Metagross, right? It also gets access to Bullet Punch, which is a great Steel-type priority move. It gets access to one of the best physical-type steel moves in the game, and Meteor Mash. You know, it gets access to Hypnosis if we want. Does it get access to Hypnosis? I think it does. I don't know. But overall, this thing is just this will be a monster, right? We could run Weakness Policy on it. If we wanted to run, like, Bulldoze, we could, like, do Weakness Policy. We could do Choice Band, we could do Life Orb, we could just do a basic Leftover set. This also gets access to all of the punches, so we do get access to, like, Ice Punch, Thunder Punch, Fire Punch, which is really, really cool. I think that'll be really nice for throwing some people off. But overall, I think Metagross was a super good pick for my Tier 2. Because this thing is just going to be a monster, right? They're not going to, if anybody wants to bring one of their Tapus, and the thing is that none of the Tapus really get anything that's really good against Metagross, except for, like, I think, Lele and Feeny both get Shadow Ball. I don't know if the other ones get Shadow Ball or not. But that would be super effective on Metagross, so we do have to worry about that, because bringing a Steel Psychic type against those, I could see them very well bringing a Shadow Ball set. But yeah, so the next mon up on the list is actually another tier 3. I kept going down the list. But this mod was actually one that I probably could have waited later in the draft to draft it. But the thing was that I needed this thing on the team. I needed a good water type and stuff like that, and I needed this thing, and I really did not want to take the risk that it would be drafted. Because this is just an absurdly good Pokemon in general, and I was really nervous that it was going to be drafted. Now, there only are 10 teams in the league, counting myself, so really there are a lot of really good Pokemon that went undrafted. So there were a lot of Pokemon that I was very surprised. I managed to get every single one of the Pokemon that I wanted except for one, right? So really, and the one that I got was actually not one that I was totally solidified on. It was between that one and another Pokemon, and so it just kind of made my decision up for me. So I got lucky enough to get all the Pokemon that I wanted for my draft, but the one that I really needed to have on this team, one of my favorite Pokemon to use competitively, if you guys have been watching the channel for any amount of time, you know what it is. One of my favorite Pokemon of all time, one of my favorite Pokemon to use competitively, that is, if I can click, Gastrodon. I had to pick Gastrodon for the team, guys. We all know it. It's got Storm Drain, Urshifu Rapid Strike, another counter to that. Obviously, we also had somebody draft Pelipper Barraspuda as well shortly after in the draft. This gives us basically an immunity to that liquidation. And also, you know, it'll be powered up in the rain, but it also just gives us an immunity to electric, and it basically gives us immunity to water, right? So we can always have our fire type out and never have to worry about it taking super effective damages from water type attacks unless it's like Surf, Muddy Water, something like that, right? So, I mean, Gastrodon is just really good. Obviously, it's only weak to Grass type, so if they have a good Grass type, which really, I think there might have only had one other Grass type or two other Grass types I can think of off the top of my head that were drafted. So basically, we won't even have to run the weak Berry unless I really think that it would be worth it. Also, Zeraora also gets access to Grass Knot too. I wanted to mention that earlier. So if there is a ground type that might be coming out, we can always just use Grass Knot. That was something I wanted to mention earlier. Forgot about that. But Gastrodon is just really good. Obviously gets Storm Drain. It also gets Sticky Hold. I really don't think we'll be using Sticky Hold that much. So yeah, I also should have mentioned that Zeraora gets Volt Absorb, which also is another electric type immunity, and Metagross gets Clear Body, which means that we never have to worry about stat drops. So that's, I mean, should have mentioned that earlier. But yeah, I don't know if we'll ever run Sticky Hold on Gastrodon, but it will be nice always to have Storm Drain, so we never have to worry about water type Pokemon unless it doubles into two different spots. But if that's the case, we just switch if I think that they would do that. But yeah, that's Gastrodon. Obviously, any of our opponents have to be wary bringing water types against us when we have Gastrodon. I really knew I needed this thing on the team. Having a good ground type is also really, really nice because a lot of good fire types went, like Cinderace, which may not always be a fire type, but still. But the next Pokemon up on this list, guys, is actually a Tier 4. I decided to go with this one because, I was actually, for a good fire type, I was all set and determined on Ninetales, right? Kanto Ninetales. I thought it was perfect, right? Gave us Sun to get rid of Hail teams, Rain teams, Sand teams, you know, all gave us access to like Solar Beam, stuff like that. I was totally set on that. But then, I got thinking, right? There is another Pokemon that we have later in the draft that I may end up dropping at some point for Ninetales. But the thing is that I really like that Pokemon, and I really think it'll be more useful than I think it will be. So I decided actually to go with another fire type. And thinking about this thing actually gave me something else that I wanted on the team as well. Which, this Pokemon is, if I can click, Alolan Marowak, right? I think this Pokemon was really, really good. Obviously gets access to Rock Head, which is an amazing ability, which basically makes it so we don't take any recoil, which means we are 100% okay to just Flare Blitz every time. Now, of course, Flare Blitz does only get 8 PP with the, obviously because it maxes it out when in Showdown anyways, but it gets the max amount is 8, so we only have 8 Flare Blitzes to run with, but we could always run a Lepa Berry if we decided to do that, but I don't even know if we'll ever do that. I just think it's insanely powerful. We could even run Double Edge if we wanted to, you know, Head Smash. Does this thing get Head Smash? I think it does, but I don't know. Anyways, this thing is just absurd, right? It also gives us a Ghost typing, meaning that we don't have to worry about, gives us a normal type, you know, immunity. So we don't have to worry about taking damage from, you know, normal type Pokemon. If it's like well, nobody decided to draft Snorlax or Greedent, but somebody did decide to draft Lanoon towards the end of the draft, so we don't have to worry about like Belly Drum, Facade, crap. So we have an immunity to that, right? Also, Poltergeist, not Poltergeist, that's a Pokemon. Poltergeist is an insanely good move for him too. This is really good, but his other ability is actually Lightning Rod, which actually, up until drafting him, I actually had Kanto Marowak on the team. So this actually gave us, but that would have gave us 2 ground types, and mainly the reason why I wanted to do that is because I wanted to have an electric like an electric community with lightning rod. Not that really we have a ton of Pokemon on our team that are weak to that, but and we also have Zeraora with Volt Absorb, but I wanted to have access to that, right? So we are able to run Lightning Rod if I ever think need be, but I think most of the time we're just gonna run Rockhead because it's like amazing. But I really think this Pokemon is going to be really, really good. I love Alolan Marowak. It's definitely my favorite second favorite Alolan form after Alolan Ninetales, because obviously it's one of my favorite, like top 5 favorite Pokemon of all time. But this guy's really, really cool. I think it's going to be really nice. Obviously, being able to get, a lot of that stuff. We could always run Life Orb, Choice Band. We could even run Air Balloon if we wanted to on this thing. We could also run Air Balloon on Metagross, but I really think this thing will be really, really good. Now, about this time in the draft, I realized that our team didn't really have a lot of speed, right? We had Zeraora that was pretty fast. Metagross is pretty slow, Gastrodon is decently slow, and Marowak is like average speed, if not maybe slightly below average. So I really needed something fast, right? I wanted something fast and to hit hard, and there was one Pokemon that came to mind when I said fast that I really, really, really wanted to draft, right? And I only didn't draft this one first because I wanted to get Marowak before I got this guy. And to be honest, I was really surprised that he didn't go before in the draft. But obviously, I have found a newfound love for this Pokemon in competitive. And you guys probably know who I'm talking about. Absurdly fast, hard-hitting Mon, one of my favorite Pokemon of all time. We had to get Weavile on the team, guys. Yes, Frozone is coming to the team, guys. Tier 3, rounding out our, rounding up our Tier 3s, our Tier 2, and our Tier 1, Weavile was basically, I had to get it, right? Obviously, Focus Sash, Triple Axle, Fake Out, Night Slash, just straight up amazing Pokemon. I think it also gets access to U-Turn, for priority. This thing, or for pivoting, I mean not priority. Obviously, this thing is just straight up amazing. We've seen how much damage a Weavile on 1 HP can do because it is absurdly fast. Now, a lot of other Pokemon had been drafted, like Dragon types, like Kieran. Well, this thing isn't really do very much in Kieran Black, but like Hydreigon was drafted. One of the Altaria had been drafted. So really, I really think that Weavile is a really, really good choice. Also gives us access to just Night Slash. We could Ice Shard for priority. We could always run Ice Punch if we really don't want to have to deal with Triple Axle. But the thing is, I probably will always run Triple Axle, even though it is a gamble if it doesn't hit that 5 times. But I really think Weavile, I had to pick it. This thing was absurdly fast, hit absurdly hard. I'm really, really excited for this thing. I really think it'll be really nice to have something this fast on the team. Basically, another priority Mon to just come in, fake out, leave, get hit, and then just keep doing as much damage, because this thing outspeeds like almost everything, right? Like with an exception to maybe like Dragapult, but it outspeeds like a lot of stuff, especially in this draft, since like Regieleki is not allowed in the draft. So this thing was just, it absurdly hits hard. I'm very, 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 very excited about this. Now, the next Pokemon up on this list that I wanted to draft is actually a Pokemon that I decided to spend some points on. One thing that I have always said in my competitive teams is that the best typing is a Fairy typing, and as you guys can see, we don't have a Fairy type on this team. And that was because I had set on 2 Pokemon that I was deciding between. And I still am not 100% sure if I made the right choice or not. But I was definitely looking at Togekiss. That was one Pokemon that I was really looking at, but that would give us another flying type on our team, which we already have another one that I was thinking about drafting. And the thing is that Togekiss really doesn't get a ton of coverage, right? Basically, it's like, it gets like D-Gleam, Air Slash, I think he gets Ally Switch, I think. But really, there was a different Pokemon that I really thought that would have been more useful as a Fairy type. And it was the same tier, it was a tier 4, so this was a tier 3. So this is, tier 2. So this was our tier 2 pick, guys, and I'm very, very happy about this, and that is Mimikyu. Now, I am not 100% sure if I did make the right choice, but it also gives us another ghost typing, which we don't really double up on too many typings here, But really, I thought Mimikyu was really great. Obviously, Disguise was nerfed in Gen 8, being that we take an 1/8 of damage instead of no damage at all, but that's still like nothing, right? This is basically like a free hit on any Pokemon, right? And it hits really hard. And it also gets, with like Play Rough, it also gets access to Shadow Ball. It gets access to Shadow Sneak, which is really awesome for a priority. And I really think that this thing will be really good against a lot of our opponents. You know, it doesn't really hit a ton of things hard since there was not a lot of dragon types that had went. But, and I actually didn't, as much as I love dragon types, I actually didn't draft a dragon type in this because of the fact that it's only super effective against other dragon types. So, really, I really didn't think that it was that much useful, and I did decide to put Metagross over Salamence. So, but Mimikyu, I really think will be doing a lot of damage. I'm not totally sure if I did make the right choice, like I said, but I think I went with my gut, and I am going with Mimikyu over Togekiss. I really think this thing is going to be really good. It does also get access to D-Gleam if we decide that we want to run it specially. I don't know what its special attack is. I know it has a really good attack stat, but I don't know about special attack stat. But I'm just really excited about using this thing, guys. I have not used a Mimikyu competitively since Ultra Sun and Moon, which it's been years since I really used it. So I'm not totally sure if it's still good and competitive as it was back then. But like I said, I used to use it quite a bit back in Ultra Sun and Moon. So hopefully I won't be too rusty with using it. But Mimikyu definitely was the next one. Now the next Pokemon up on this list was one that I sort of a support mon, sort of. I wanted a bulky mon since we don't really have too many super bulky Pokemon on our team other than like Gastrodon and Metagross. So I decided that I wanted an Eviolite user, and nobody had picked this Pokemon yet. So I decided that I wanted to go with Porygon 2. This is another free point that I took. It was tier 3. So I was really excited about Porygon 2. I think it's going to be a really, really good mon. Yes, so it obviously it's super bulky with Eviolite. It gets access to Recover. It gets access to Ally Switch, which is also super, super nice. Being able to just Ally Switch around. It gets access to, like I said, Recover. It gets access to Tri-Attack, Ice Beam, Thunderbolt. It gets access to Thunder if we decide to run it. If we go against the Rain team. Gets access to Shadow Ball, I think. I'm not totally sure. I know Porygon Z does, but I'm not sure Porygon 2 does. Porygon Z actually went like right before I picked Porygon 2. This thing does give us a Ghost type immunity, which is nice. But overall, just a bulky recover set. Being able to ally switch around and stuff like that is really, really nice. And I'm very much excited about using Porygon 2. I've used it before competitively. It's just really, really good. And you can just take hits, right? That's the thing. Its job will be come in, take hits, probably heal some up, hit a Pokemon with an Ice Beam. You know, obviously it's not stab, but it'll do a decent amount. But yeah, that's Porygon 2. So basically, Porygon 2 is just to do Porygon 2 stuff. So a lot of Rotoms had been drafted so far, and I decided that there was a Rotom that I wanted to draft, but it wasn't Rotom Heat or Rotom Wash. Right, it was a Pokemon that I thought that I really, really wanted, and after I saw a bunch of them were going, I was like, okay, I should probably draft this thing before somebody else takes it. So that is Rotom Muk. I think this is really good. It gives us a Grass type, even though, to be honest, the reason why I drafted it was not for a Grass type. It is another Electric type, but it does get access to Levitate, so we don't have to worry about taking super effective damage to Ground type, which I think would be neutral anyways because it is a Grass type. But basically, the reason why I drafted this thing is another support mon. It gets access to Will-O-The-Wisp, which is really nice to cut the attack of the Pokemon. It also gets access to Helping Hand, which is super cool because I really wanted a Helping Hand mon. And Togetic was a tier 5 that I was looking at that had went before this. So, and Togetic was a Pokemon that I was looking at because it did get access to Helping Hand. And now that Togetic was gone, I had to pick a different tier 5, and I wanted a Pokemon that had Helping Hand, and Rotom did get it. So I think this will be really, really nice. Also, we could run Thunderbolt, Shadow Ball, you know, we could run Nasty Plot if we want. We could always run, like, Choice Specs Trick, if that's what we wanted to also, which is pretty cool, allowing us to give Pokemon that really don't want Choice Specs, So yeah, I mean, this thing is basically just in here to Will-O-The-Wisp and to Helping Hand. I think it also gets Ally Switch. So it's just a really, overall, a really awesome Pokemon to have, and I'm very happy that I was able to get this Pokemon. Now, we have 3 Pokemon up on this list, and I decided that I did want to go for my Tier 5 now, because a lot of people were starting to pick Tier 5s, and I wanted, since Togetic was taken from me, I decided that there was a different Pokemon that I wanted, and I needed a redirector. Also, since Togetic was taken and Togetic was my redirector, so I was thinking, what other Tier 5 that could I get that was decent with an Eviolite? And I decided to go with Wartortle, right? Wartortle does get access to Follow Me, right? Blastoise gets it because they got it in an event, which means that Wartortle also gets access to Follow Me, which is nice. So throw the Eviolite on this thing, max HP, it can take you some hits, right? It might not take a ton of hits, but it'll take some hits. So Follow Me, a nice redirector, is just perfect for the team, right? Also gets access to Aura Sphere, which is pretty cool. Gets access to Hydro Pump, Ice Beam, Ice Punch, Aqua Jet. So it gets access to a lot of semi-okay moves. The only reason why I think I would bring this thing would only be because of Follow Me. Do I see us bringing this thing every time? Probably not, but I think it'll be really, really good in the long run. So basically, all I gotta say about the reason why I drafted Wartortle is strictly because of it getting Follow Me. But yeah, so the second to last Pokemon I wanted to draft was, we did not have a fighting type on this team, and I wanted to have a good fighting type, and I also wanted something that was a little bit more versatile. So I decided that I thought what would be best, after debating on a lot of different Pokemon, was that I wanted to go with Hitmonchan, right? Hitmonchan is a really good Pokemon. Now, I prefer Hitmonlee over Hitmonchan, but the only reason why I went with Hitmonchan, Hitmontop had already been taken, but that was also in a higher tier. Hitmonchan gets access to the punches, right? Gets access to Thunder Punch, Ice Punch, Fire Punch, Mach Punch for priority, gets access to Drain Punch, Close Combat. I could run Toxic on it if I wanted to. I mean, this thing, really, I don't see it coming every week, but it would be a Pokemon that would be able to come and catch something off guard with a certain punch, depending on whatever I wanted it to be. We could run Choice Band, we could run Life Orb, even Choice Scarf if I really wanted to. I just think this thing is a nice Pokemon to have, to be able to come in and, sock them. Just come in, hit him with an uppercut, hit him with one of those 1-2 combos. I just think it's a really good Pokemon, and I think that was a really good option. Now, the last Pokemon up on this list is actually a Pokemon I don't know how much I'll be bringing, but it is our Flying type, right? Which is a good Ground type immunity. We already have one Pokemon that has a Ground type immunity in Rotom, but I wanted to have another good Ground type immunity, so like with the Landorus and stuff like that. So we do have a couple Pokemon that are weak to Ground types, being Marowak, being Weavile, being Metagross. Zeraora, Gastrodon does also not like to take it. So we are weak to ground typing. And I needed a Pokemon that I would be able to use against like Landorus to be immune to it. And I decided that I wanted to go with Braviary. Now, I have not used Braviary in a long time competitive, like a very, very long time. It will always hold a soft spot in my heart. My favorite animal since I was a little kid is an eagle. It's got nothing to do with like the United States. I just love eagles. I think they're beautiful creatures. As you guys can see, I have eagle thing here, there's eagle stuff up there. I have a stuffed eagle on my couch. I love eagles. So Braviary was like the first like real eagle Pokemon to come out, and it will always hold a soft spot in my heart. I think its shiny is really cool when it turns to blue. And it also gets access to Superpower, which is pretty nice. Gets access to, Brave Bird. I think this thing will be better than I thought. Also gives us access to Defog, being able to get rid of Toxic Spikes, Sticky Web, Spikes, Stealth Rocks, all that kind of stuff. I think it'll be really, really nice. I really just think this Pokemon was really good. This was the Pokemon that I was debating on taking Ninetales over this one. But I do think that this thing is going to be really good, being able to give us a ground type immunity. But I do understand that we do have a few Pokemon on this team that are weak to ground type Pokemon, which means that now looking over at this, we have more Pokemon than I thought. But Gastrodon should be able to handle some of that. Wartortle should be able to. Rotom should be able to handle some of that with the exception of like Lando. And then obviously Braviary can totally give us immunity to that. But that is the team, guys. That is the team that I drafted. Zeraora, Metagross, Gastrodon, Weavile, Marowak, Alolan, Rotom-Mow, Wartortle, Mimikyu, Porygon2, Hitmonchan, and Braviary. Now, I really think this team is really good. Let me know down below in the comments what you guys think of this team. And, yeah, guys, our first week battle is going to be coming out sometime this week coming up. Obviously, there is a grace period this weekend, so obviously we can't even start the battle until Monday at the earliest, which is tomorrow. So, yeah, make sure you guys have your notifications on so you don't miss that, because each week there will be a battle. Now, again, this is all for fun, right? This is all for fun. I do not anticipate making it into the playoffs, right? This is a 10-week regular season and a 4-week playoff season, and then you have the finals. So, there will be 10 battles, right? We battle everybody in the league one time. And I don't know if we're going to win every time. I don't know if we're going to lose every time. I'm decent with competitive Pokemon, but I've never done a draft league. And it's hard when you are preparing for somebody else's team who's also preparing for your team. It's a totally different ball game. This is something I've never done ever in my entire life. It's not something I can practice doing outside of this. This is something, so I may embarrass myself and lose all 10 battles. But at the end of the day, it's just to have fun. And I'm super, super excited about this team, guys. A lot of thought went into this, except for the whole fact that I drafted a lot of Pokemon that are weak to ground types. So, and even getting Ninetales would not have helped that anyways. But, yeah, guys, so this is the team. You guys are excited for the start of Season 1 of the NPBA, the Nitro Pokemon Battle Academy. Then make sure you guys hit that like button, subscribe if you guys are new, and check out the playlist when there should be a playlist, but all the Season 1 will be in there, and if this goes well, it'll be a Season 2. But other than that, guys, that is it from me. So like I say at the end of every video, I am the Nitro General. I really hope you guys do enjoy, and I will see you in the next episode. Nitro General is out. Peace.